All right, it's Sunday, November 20th, and we are back for a weekly forecast and a look back at Friday as well. But let's start at the monthly chart on DXY. We can see we've tapped into this monthly level that I mentioned last week's in last week's forecast, where I expected we'd find some support, which we have. We kind of are still in this active monthly candle, so it could still close up near the high, it could break the low, who knows what's going to happen, but we've got a little bit of a slowdown here, and last week closed with a hammer, bullish hammer candle. We're still maintaining this overall bullish structure, and we've returned to a discount area, so I am not, and if we go even on a higher time frame, yes, we've come up to the extreme of this leg pretty much. There's still some imbalance above the high here that we could be still reaching for, or this could be the completion of the move and we could be seeing a reversal point here or a consolidation before a reversal. And so, we got to keep different options on the table at this point in time. But on the weekly, I'm curious to see what this week looks like around the high of last week. So if we open up, let's change this to red. If we open up and show some imbalance, some impulsive moves above the previous weekly high, then that will be very telling for what dollar wants to do, in my opinion. So I think this week, also if we poke above this high and then reject, then I could see us kind of maintaining a range here between these two levels, possibly testing the low here of the previous week. So we have to really see what price is going to do day to day around this level. So in the daily chart, again, we could just be, we formed this big wick right here, a swing low, inside bar, consolidation. This tried to break that consolidation but got rejected. Then it came up the next day. We're still contained here in this general range. So I'm not going to just assume that based on this, we're going to shoot up. I do want to just take it level to level and see how things progress. Very easily, we're just, as you just keep jumping down time frames, there's no reason why we can't just poke above and then tank. So, if we see a strong move and then we kind of hold above it, my illustrations are pretty bad, sorry. But if we kind of hold above it and, hold above these imbalances that get created, then we could see, something like this. But if we go this and we just show a lot of weakness or immediate rejection above this level, then, we could look for this as a short signal on dollar, which means we'd be buying, more eager to buy foreign currencies and as well as NASDAQ. So let's just jump back into NASDAQ, which is the primary market I trade. Let's go back to the monthly on this. Let's just clear the chart. So on the monthly, we've mentioned this imbalance here for a while now, that we would expect price to be operating within this imbalance, and we've reached up pretty high, almost filled it completely. It doesn't have to fill it completely, and started to sell off. Let's just change this to yellow, which is the color I use for monthly level. So this is a monthly low, and this would represent the completion of this gap fill. So all we did on a weekly basis is we've pushed up, we've taken this low, formed a swing low here, engulfed it, broke above, retested, followed through to the upside with a strong close, and then last week we got no follow through. It was just a slowdown here at this monthly imbalance and this weekly order block. So again, similar to dollar, I'm going to want to see how price behaves below this level. So this is last week's low. If on the lower time frame we see some impulse below it, then that will help establish my bias for the overall week. Again, but we could just kind of range around. This week could be very similar. It could just be another small range candle. I don't, this is just a very not ideal price action to be involved in. It's just very tiny candles on the daily chart, but we are holding this range. If we just look at the volume of the bodies here, it's a pretty tight range for a daily chart. It's about 250 points where we're really just operating in. So I'd like to just see if we get a daily close above or below this little range. I just have, it's very 50-50 to me right now. We've just structurally on the daily chart, we've been if I'm looking at this leg here, this down leg here, I can see that we've broke this low, which means this is just an inducement area. And what I might mean by that is this is a level where a price can just come back up, take the liquidity that's here, and then continue in the direction of the bigger picture trend. So, but the bullish case is we've been consolidating and we had this big push at CPI off the CPI news, and now we're holding this, which is what you'd want to see if you're bullish. You don't want to really see us break down below these levels, in my opinion, because if it does that, it's reacted to the gap, and then so now if it now closes below this, then it's kind of like showing where the strength is in the market. In my opinion, it's showing that that the sell side is stronger, and that we're going to be going more towards the sell side liquidity here. So we'll just have to see. But if it holds this, then that would be bullish up until here, which we have this imbalance here, and this kind of obvious high. And on the weekly chart, if we look at the weekly structure, this would be the weekly inducement level, if you will, in my opinion, where it could come up here, take the liquidity, reject off of the extreme, and then continue down. So really 50-50, since we're just kind of in the middle of this range. And at this stage, I have no like definitive bias on which way we're going to go. So we'll just, as always, play it day by day, session by session. And Friday, I didn't do a review on Friday. I just kind of needed a break. But again, it's just one of these sloppy days where it took the target that I was looking at after Thursday, but it did it in London when actually right before New York Open, it completed the move. And I don't trade until after about 9:45. So I didn't get involved in any sells here, which would have been the ideal place, but our analysis was generally right, which was after taking this low, price would come up to this imbalance, which it did on the 4-hour above the equal highs. Let's see if I can even draw this right. Okay. So on the 4-hour, let's get rid of the session breaks. On the 4-hour, we said that after we took the low here, these lows here, that we were likely, we saw the V reversal consolidation, and we were expecting a continuation in the direction of the most recent leg, which was this. And it came up to this point, area of interest, and then sold off. But it was just not in the time of day where I would be trading. It was just right at the open, which, you can always get a lot of volatility there. So I like to sit it out at the beginning. But we had Asia range. London pushed up and was very weak towards the high. See how the momentum is slowing down right at the liquidity point. And we got that manipulation and then big displacement down. We've taken out these lows here. And then we've come up. We ended the day with a little bit of a bounce. But again, now we're just at this structural point where, my short-term bias right now is bearish. I think we've come up, we've had this impulse down after hitting the higher time frame imbalance, and we've now cleared this buy side liquidity into this imbalance and are showing rejection. So I think if I had to place a bet right now, we'd see some follow through to the downside to test this low. But again, this is going to be not really important to know because we have a ways to go until New York Open on Monday. So that's where my eyes at kind of to start the week. I'm just going to be patient and looking at this weekly low. If we see some sort of impulse on the 1 hour, let's say, um, where it looks like we're really a strong close here, then I think we can see a push to the downside. I think that's going to be the market showing its hand. So we'll have to see, and then we'll time that up with how the dollar index looks, and see if we can get a good trade or two this week to head into the Thanksgiving holiday. So again, it's the Thanksgiving holiday this week, so we could see another kind of slow, choppy market, but you never know. So we'll just stay alert and trade what we see. All right, that's it. Have a good week.